Hello and welcome to Heavy Metal Rex. My name is Awais, and today I wanted to take a look at this article from CarBuzz, which it seems like another one of these is coming out like every other day, and it is basically saying that Subaru, they trademarked the STI logo in Germany somewhere. So come with me and let's take a look at this. So the article is from CarBuzz. I don't know if I've seen a lot of articles from this place. I know this pops up on my Google feed from time to time, and I don't really recall how much I actually pay attention to reading this place. But basically it's saying that Subaru filed a trademark for the STI nomenclature at the German Patent and Trademark Office. I know that as soon as you see anything ST related, people that are part of the Subaru community will assume that it has something to do with the STI, or maybe it doesn't, or it's some sort of badge or whatever. In this case, they're thinking that maybe the STI logo is for some sort of future hybrid car or some EV, or maybe a performance model or something of the other related to EVs. But as we know, Subaru actually only has one EV, which is the Solterra, which actually isn't even Subaru made. It's Toyota helps make the Solterra, which is just a whole... There's just a whole other thing that I don't really know if I want to get into. A couple of years, or I think like a year or two ago, I do know that at the Tokyo Auto Show they did show the STI ERA, which is what we got the 22WRX out of, which was some sort of like 1,000 horsepower EV, supposedly. It looked great. People really thought that that's what was going to come out. That's not what came out. We got the 22WRX instead, which again is still a great car in its own right, but everything that happened around the time of its release and them cutting the STI, it stung then, and it still stings. And this is why when you see articles like this today, it hurts. It hurts, especially if you've been waiting for an STI. Now the STI, now this is their own words, right? This is not coming from Subaru or anything else. CarBuzz says that we believe the STI nomenclature will be applied to fully electric cars and not hybrid vehicles for two reasons. If it were a plug-in hybrid based off the famous 2.5 or the 2.0, which I don't even think that's possible. They're thinking that possibly if there is a hybrid car, it might be the EJ, which is, I really don't think that they would take the EJ and make a hybrid out of that. That would actually make no sense. Or even the 2.0, that came in the V8WRX, doesn't make any sense at all. If they are going to make some sort of hybrid car, it's going to be the 2.4. There's no other way. I mean, all of the other cars, the Outback XT has it, the Legacy is currently running it, the Ascent is currently running it. Eventually, the other cars will get it as well, I'm sure. The 2.4 is, I think, the next chapter in the combustion engine Ford Subaru. They basically make another reference to an EV factory being built in Japan, specifically at least they think for the EVs or hybrid vehicles, which I definitely think they need to, because I know right now in the Midwest, the Crosstrek hybrid is a very popular hybrid, but you cannot find one anywhere around here. People are actually having to go to weird climates where Subarus are usually not commonly sold, buying them and bringing them back, things like Texas or Florida. So that would be good if they can get that sorted out, and maybe we can eventually see what a STI hybrid can look like. So here's the logo that they have. It does look like the old STI logo from like mid-90s, early 2000s, but of course it's STE. I believe at this point it's okay to assume anytime you see an E in a logo, it probably stands for electric or something around that nature. It just seems to be pretty common knowledge now, without them having to actually say it. The other thing is that last year, was it? Yeah, I want to say it was last year, they had the auto show. No, wait, actually it was this year. It was earlier this year. They had the auto show, and everybody thought that the Impreza was going to get some sort of STI trim, or there was going to be some sort of STI announcement. It turns out it was just a CVT powered, slightly more power Impreza with nothing on it. It was a cop out. Everybody was a little upset. I was upset myself because actually I did go to the auto show to find out. Now, all this stuff aside, I wanted to talk about one other thing, which is hybrid performance vehicles. I know that cars do go faster, right? If a company builds a car that is hybrid, they can leverage the electric portion of the drivetrain to make a pretty quick car. I do know Car and Driver has rated the STI, I think the 2021 STI 0 to 60 at like 5.3 seconds, that's a pretty quick car. But even in today's standards, there's a lot of cars that are in that 5-second range. Now, what I wanted to do was look at just a few cars, just a few, not a lot. I know this is not a topic that a lot of people like hearing about, but there are some really fast hybrid cars. Now, this list here isn't what I'm referring to, which, you know, your McLarens, your Aston Martins, your Lamborghinis, your Mercedes, Aston Martin. These are all hybrid cars, hybrid supercars that hit 0 to 60 between like 1.5 seconds to like 3 seconds, obviously. But they have all taken electrification, added it to, you know, twin turbo engines, and have come up with some fantastic results. Now, these aren't the cars that I'm particularly referring to. I want to talk about some of your average cars, which are some of these, and has averaged so much that even on CarWow's website here, they're just plain white. Something like this BMW 3 Series, which is coming up at 292 horsepower, 0 to 60 time of 5.9 seconds. That's really quick. And this is a hybrid family sedan. That's it. And there's nothing special about this car. You know, then you look at this this Audi Q5, which is their midline SUV, or I guess crossover, one would call it. 299 horsepower, 0 to 60 of 5.3 seconds. That's really, really quick. Now, this one is really interesting because we actually own a Volvo XC90, but it's the T6 with the twin charge engine, which makes, I think, like 310 horsepower. And it's like okay in speed. It's like, I think, like 7 seconds, 0 to 60. But they have, this is a 455 horsepower version of 0 to 60 in 5.1 seconds, but they actually have one above this, which is the T8 Polestar edition, I think, which does 0 to 60 in like 4 seconds. And then not only that, but Volvo themselves have a few sedans that are hybrid, twin charge hybrid, making somewhere around 450-ish horsepower, that are all doing 0 to 60 in like 4.5 seconds. And they're like all-wheel drive. And they also weigh almost 4,000 pounds. Like, so there is a lot going on with electrification and internal combustion engines. I think the combination of the two it's good. I think that we will get some pretty quick cars, and I think people won't lose out on manual shifting. People are not going to lose out from exhaust notes. You'll be able to get both. And I really think that if we're going to go in the route of electrification, I think hybrid is the way to go. There's one other car I wanted to bring up, which is a Honda Accord, which you usually don't think about when you think like fast car or something like that. But I mean, this isn't particularly a fast car, but I mean that's because of the power that they put in it. It's only 212 horsepower, which is that's not a lot, but somehow they're still getting it to 0 to 60 in 6.7 seconds, which again, you know, unless you're a drag king out there, these numbers to you, they're not fast, right? But the average owner, and I promise you, I will die on this hill, you know, the average person that's buying these cars, they're not drag racing them, but they still want a car that's, you know, that they can live with every day and it's still quick, you know. And I think that's why Subaru was so popular, you know, for as long as it's been, because it's like an everyday car that is just slightly faster than it should be. And I think with a little bit more power, and I'm referring to the Accord in this case, with a little bit more power and a hybrid drivetrain, these can be exceptionally quick cars, exceptionally quick everyday cars. And, you know, you can probably modify them and make them even faster, you know? I think that there's a lot of room to grow. I, for one, don't particularly reject change. I know a lot of people have a hard time with that, especially in the car community. So to bring it back to whether or not an STI hybrid is something that would be welcomed, I, for one, will welcome it. If they tell me next year that they're coming out with an STI hybrid, I'm sorry, I'm buying it. 100%, there's no way I'm not going to buy it, you know? And I hope that more and more people are a little bit open-minded about hybrid cars. I honestly, when I was reading this article, I was trying to decide if I even wanted to make a video on it because, you know, I'm just one random dude, and, you know, what's my opinion? But I think that if I can share one thing with you, it's to just have an open mind. You know, people hated the 22 when they was first released, and now damn thing's making a lot of power, and it's a lot of fun to drive. A lot of cars are like that, and I think we just need to just have an open mind. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in the next one.